Innocent Piri. You can simply call me as usual as IP. August, of course, this is happens to be the 6th of October, the year 2021. That moment when again we have to come live to your screen and update you with the news and current affairs in our country, and so that you are not left behind. Above all, again, remember, all these programs or programmings are brought to you for the betterment of our country, Zambia, and indeed the African continent at large. Yesterday, I did host State Counsel John Sangwa discussing the appointment of the Chief Justice and also matters to deal with the Zambian Constitution. It's something that has been very quite debatable in our country, because remember that Zambia, we have failed to come up with a better or well-simplified constitution since 1964, when the country got independence, despite various amendments that we've done to this piece of the supreme law of the land, but nothing has come forth. So we continue to bring in various individuals or leaders or political leaders to continue add their voices. And tonight we get into the issue to deal with checks and balances. Others are calling it constructive checks and balances. For others, they want to call it, of course, balanced checks and balances and the likes, whichever definition you want to bring about. But above all, we find out what is the real definition of checks and balances. And we invite, now my guest on the program is coming from the former ruling party, which is now in the opposition, the Patriotic Front. And my guest on the program is embattled Patriotic Front founder member, or expelled member, Julius Komaki. 2 days ago, he had a press briefing in which he highlighted a lot of issues, in which, again, I'll be able to call for a clip anytime from now, just to refreshen your minds, and from there, we'll get into the conversation. So let me just request from my director, if at all the clip is ready, he just refreshen our minds, and we'll be able to dive into the conversation after this clip.
By PF founder member Julius Komaki, Lusaka, 4th October 2021. It is almost 2 months after we in the Patriotic Front, PF, lost elections to the UPND. In that vein, we want to congratulate His Excellency the President, Mr. Ika in the Ichilema and the UPND for winning the elections. We have, however, seen many people criticizing the new government and attacking President Ichilema. For that, we are saying it is not necessary for now, because the UPND government is more time, with a maximum of 100 days in the office. After the 100 days plus, we can now start criticizing, because we will see that already they have put the benchmarks of running the affairs of the country. It's too premature for us to judge them by now. But all and above, the PF has to blame itself for losing an election because of arrogance and pomposity which they had by keeping certain individuals like Davis Mwila. I personally, with my team, went around the country to demand the removal of Davis Mwila, and we warned that if Mr. Mwila continued to be part of the leadership, we are going to lose the elections. I was instead expelled, a move which I refused. But now, my friends and I have been vindicated that Mr. Mwila and other MCC members who were not contributing positively towards the party is now, they are the danger to the PF. Members of the press, I want to urge Mr. Mwila and other members of Central Committee who are about to leave the party, that before they leave the city, their seats they were occupying, they need to ensure that all the musicians, I mean the musicians who were campaigning, who were the frontliners in the Patriotic Front campaigns, all the media institutions we used to campaign using their media, and other people who PF wants money should be paid. There is no way the party can be driving an agenda of rebranding and calling for a conversion before people are paid. The outgoing SG needs to ensure that people are cleared before they drag the party to court, because this is a very serious matter. Or the biggest opposition, which is giving checks and balances to the government, should make sure that they put their house in order before they are dragged to court. Mr. Muilan and others should take me serious, because what I say always comes to pass. If we need to rebrand the party, we need to start on a clean sheet.
All right, welcome back, and we continue now with the discussion. My guest on the program is embattled, expelled PF founding member Julius Komaki. Mr. Komaki, welcome to this special interview.
Good evening, Mr. Moderator and Mr. Piri, sure. Innocent, and good evening, viewers, and good evening, listeners.
Thank you so much. Let's begin on this note. I want us to put a few things straight here. You are one of the founder members of the Patriotic Front. I want to believe so?
Yes, sir.
All right. Beside that as well, on the 13th of May 2019, you were expelled alongside Kelvin Waliafuwe. I should believe that.
No, according to the media. But up to now, I and my older brother, Mr. Kelvin Waliafuwe, we just received that message, but we were never saved with the papers.
Right.
And us, we refused to say we cannot be expelled for merely telling the truth. So we continued working, because at times people cannot take you seriously. So on the long run, that's when people come and understand you, why you were an advocate. Remember, it was not my first time. Yeah, there was a time before Mr. Sata died. May he so rest in peace. When there was someone who was undermining the president by then, was Winter Kavimba. He was the Secretary General. I'm not saying Mr. Winter Kavimba was not a good Secretary General. Let me put the record straight. Mr. Winter Kavimba was a good organizer of the party. Now, the problem was on two sides. One, he undermined us as cadres. He was saying, you are senior street kids. I cannot listen to you. You are not my level. So now we wanted to show him that Mr. Winter Kavimba is just a small man. Power rise to the people. That's how we rose. And Mr. Sata listened to us. And he made sure, because
that's dating back from 2011
yes,
to 2014, about somewhere there.
Yes.
Okay.
So again, there was an issue of saying I was expelled. In return, I refused. And I made Mr. President by then to understand that the point I was trying to put, I was just categorical. I was not doing it in bad faith, but in the interest of unifying the party. Until I went back, I started working. So when things went wrong, I can tell the viewers out there who may be having an interest to learn about politics. When Mr. Sata died, we had a problem, a very huge problem of succession. That's why you had seen there was a lot of camps. There was a camp from GBM side, there was camp from Guy Scotty, there was camp from Mao Sampa. So until by then Mr. Guy Scotty had taken the instrument of power, it's an interesting story. It's us, again, the same cadres who rose to say, Mr. Guy Scotty, no, what you are doing is not in good faith. What is important, you are the acting president. You were not given the instrument of power. So can you return the instrument of power back to the president by then, Mr. Edgar Chagwarung, who was the acting president? Yeah. So there was that internal fights of which other people can be interested. So we played that pivotal role. We made sure we forced the people from the Central Committee to agree to go to convention. So when we went to convention, again, we had to fight. The same cadres who are being called names, we fought. After we fought and we made sure, lucky enough by then, when the president is not there by the constitution, it means the chairperson of the party has so mandate to supersede the affairs of the party Central Committee. So by then we had Madame Inonge Wina, who was the chairperson. So she was neutral because she's a mother. She had to call all the parties together. Then we called for the convention. Then that's how Mr. Edgar Chagwarungu came out victoriously. So from there, after Mr. Edgar Chagwarungu became victoriously, we campaigned for 29 days. We went around the country. Mr. Edgar Chagwarungu and the team, they were on top with the chopper. And us, we are hitting the ground and make sure by the time they reach there, we organize people to set the ground ready. Then we call Mr. President. The ground now is fertile. Is fertile. You can go and say, oh, the idea. Because as we are saying, in an organization, the cadre number one is the president of an organization. Then the followers also, they are, after you sell the manifesto to those people who are the followers, we buy to the idea. Then you start following it, you start disseminating the information. Yes, sir.
Right. So, thank you so much for that, elaborate of yours, getting to other important matters that I didn't actually ask you about, but my emphasis really was to find out whether or not you are an expelled member of the Patriotic Front. All right. And you said that according to the media, but I wanted just to put on record that as the media, we don't suspend, politicians in whatever political parties. Those were issues within your political party.
Those were bedroom issues.
Yeah, so you were suspended in your political party.
I was not suspended.
All right.
Yes.
You mentioned that you were not served with any letter.
Yes.
Of suspension or expulsion letter whatsoever.
Yes.
All right. Why were you not served with a letter?
When you read the Patriotic Front Constitution, before you suspend someone, you need to reprimand him. You call him. You own him. Then he should definitely exculpate himself. Then if you found wanting, that's when you can be suspended, pending on the same case. From there, now that's when you can appeal for your suspension. Now the problem was that by then, our party functionary, by then I remember, if my mind can serve me rightly, by then we had Comrade Pomonga as a acting Lusaka Province Chairman, and we had Kenneth Kamba as acting
provincial
secretary. Yes. So now that was an interim. So the interim, by the constitution, they are not mandatory to penalize anybody because it was an interim. If they had the mandate from the people, I would have been subjected for the suspension. I would have been subjected for the expulsion. That's why I refused, based on the guidance and the principles of the Patriotic Front Constitution. Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Well understood, because I think the reasons have been well highlighted here in this statement, in which, according to the statement from the PF, that you were suspended, reason being that you did not exculpate yourself together with Kelvin Waliafu.
Yes.
To exculpate yourself to go and answer to the charges, and therefore the party found it very fit within its powers to suspend you. Let's move away from there. Why are you called a PF founder member? What contribution did you make to the formation of the PF?
I joined Patriotic Front in 2001.
Right.
Just when Mr. Sata moved from MMD, he formed the Patriotic Front.
Right.
And by then, I was a branch chairperson at town center.
Right.
I was organizing the party at a branch level. There at the market, where I worked tirelessly, whenever Mr. Sata was at the radio station, we used to go and support him, show solidarity, and give him support that he needed at that particular moment of time, because it was too early for the people to buy to the agenda of Mr. Michael Chilufya Sata. Until he continues propagating, people start buying to his ideas and the principles which he stood for.
Right.
Yes.
All right. So today you are sitting beside me as, I don't know if I should call you as a suspended member or expelled member of the Patriotic Front, or a member of the Patriotic Front. I don't know. Which one should I go with?
Just like I said, my brother, Bwana Moderator, I can just call it to say it was just like a comedy of error within our inside party. Because why I say it like that, when you heard about the by-election in Chilubi for the MP, Mr. Bwaliafuve, I went there and I camped there for 2 months, of which we came out victoriously. I campaigned there. Before, the same people are claiming to say I've been suspended. From there, I went to Lukasha. We worked so tirelessly with my brothers and sisters, and we made sure that we won. Again, from Lukasha, I had to go back to Chilubi, where we had the chairperson elections. Again, I was working. As I'm speaking now, we are coming from the defeat of the elections. I was working in the northern province and Muchinga. That was my area of specifications. So we delivered. So if people say I was expelled or I was suspended, why were I offering my services to the party that have suspended me? It's only when you fail to understand each other purely on principle by the CEO of the party. So the problem of the CEO of the party, Mr. Davis Mwera, had a very, very problem, which is he never wanted to incorporate each and everyone. In short, he failed to identify the strength of each members and the cadres alike. So he had just depict a small unit of people, the sections. That's the people he started working with on the expense of the general party itself. That's why it was very difficult to even access the support that we needed, because people definitely saw that they were sidelined by the Secretary General. It's like whatever input they were putting, they were not appreciated on one or another, because he was a mother, he was the engine of the party. In Bemba we say, Nina nkuko mfikatirwa shonse, a chicken which can embrace each and every person. But when you started segregating to say, imweta muli bantu bandi, you are not my people, you are the people to the president, these are my people, just know that the problem has begun, because you are looking up to him as a Secretary General, as a father of every person in the party. Now when he starts segregating, you know that the problem has started. And for me, before I was expelled, just to put the record straight, I went to the office, I made an appointment with him. I said, Bwana Secretary General, I think the rate at which we are moving at is very, very dangerous on our side. He said, how? Then I told him to say, we are failing to appreciate the party structures. We are failing to take the cost. We have failed to take a stock taking of the party countrywide to know, because people were expectant. When we formed the party in 2011 by Mr. Michael Chilufya Sata, all the party functionaries came and supported. So when you are expectant, people are expecting a lot. And they were expecting others for jobs, others for business, others who have vote papers, and others were waiting for the empowerment. But in the process, as people were waiting, they found that we had a problem, a demise, a dark crowd. We lost. So now, when Mr. President, the former President, Mr. Edgar Chagaloun, came in, he brought in Davis Mwera. The Davis Mwera is Honorable Davis Mwera. When he came, I went to advise him, sir, Do you know the problem that we have? The problem is we need to identify people who worked for this party. In any particular constituency, district, province, let's appreciate them. Others have lost lives. Others have lost business. Others were vehicles damaged, because in the process of this politics, it's not like it's a small job, it's a fight, it's a war. So there is a lot of issues coming along. So when I advise him to say, no, you should take this position, he said, no, Mr. Komaki, me, ndimwaume sana, in pretext to say, me, I'm a very strong man, there's nothing that you can tell me. Now we reached at that critical point of time where now we are saying, this man, is he seeing what we are seeing? Us, we are on the ground. Him is being surrounded by the bodyguard, the security. People cannot tell him the truth. But us, we go straight to a commoner, a direct contact. So when they start complaining, you said, okay, me have a privilege and honor that I can mingle with the Secretary General, I can go to the President and offer the advice. So now, you know, the advice is voluntary. It either you take it or you leave it. But again, I stood up my ground to say, no. I think the President has got power. Is superseding on the affairs of 18 million Zambians. So it means he has got a huge task. Now, since we have got a CEO of the party who's supposed to look at the affairs of the party, because by the virtue of the Patriotic Front Constitution, it says is the liaison between the section, the branches, the ward, the constituency, district up to the province, whereby he convey whatever is happening from, it works like a conveyor belt. So that's why he was being paid. He was a civil servant for the party. And that job was purely to get the information from the ground, what is happening, to go and feed the Central Committee. So now when we discovered that there's errors in the communication between the ground and the Central Committee, as I alluded to in my earlier preamble to say, he was one-sided. That's why we rose, just to make ourselves clear. Now, in that process, that's where we were misunderstood. But of course, I must appreciate the president, the former president, for the work that he did. He said he identified to say, okay, since they are saying this, can you start working? Then that's when I started working.
In that video we are from playing, you've mentioned a lot of very strong words, in which some of the words you are saying the PF lost power because of arrogance by keeping people like Honorable Davis Mwila. Not that we should discuss Honorable Davis Mwila really, but that's not the subject. The subject is, I just want to find out why you picked out the name of Honorable Davis Mwila according to the video that we are from playing, resulting from the press briefing that you had.
Yes, sir.
Meaning in your party you had a lot of, should I say, seemingly arrogance, as you claim?
My brother, to justify or to quantify that point, I would rather say I single out the Secretary General.
Yeah.
Why I single out the Secretary General? There is a rule in the Patriotic Front whereby an MP, before he leaves for a various constituents where he or she comes from, they must get permission to the Secretary General.
All right.
That is going to the constituents. And when coming back, he must report.
Right.
So when I said there was errors between the party on the ground and the Secretary General, is between on those lines, because he was supposed to work in line with one, as a spokesperson, as a chief organizer of the party. So when he started failing to organize, like I said, he failed to organize. Like at first, I said he was in Chipili where he lost to an independent. So I sympathized with him to say, my brother, you have a very huge task ahead of you. You failed to coordinate the few words in your particular constituency. And by then, he was the Home Affairs Minister, of which he was previewed to security information, and he was previewed to the information direct from, because these wings were reporting to him. Again, we told him to say, there is a problem in Chipiri. In the same vein, this is the same way we advised him. So then we said, no, we are seeing danger. Why? Because people have not taken care of properly. So by the time we engage them for this huge task, others were not taken good care of. So when they were given resources and logistics, and the party was waiting for the results, because people were not well taken care of, they started now taking their affairs. Instead of working for the party is waiting for the results. Now those people, they started working. Then the other point is, how would you expect the Secretary General? He was not all over the country to coordinate, to supervise, so that he can advise the president. We just saw him once in the Copper Belt. The other time we saw him, it was in Mandevu in a particular ward. The other time it was in Chawama in a particular ward. Then we started now wondering to say, where are we going? Because you need campaign teams from section, wards, constituency, district, and provincial level. These are foot soldiers of the party. Now, if the same SG can go to campaign in a particular ward, then it gives you a sad reading. They said, where are we going? That is the problem. But the person, he was not advisable. That's why I used that term to say he was pompous. You know, when you are humble, you create an atmosphere where you can listen to every person. Because it's one of the attributes in the leadership that a leader should be a good listener. Even if Mr. Piri, Mr. Moderator, even if I'm not advising correctly, but you need to sieve out good things and bad things. And when we advise you, we see the reaction. Once you react towards the advice, then you are creating that rapport where we should continue advising to say, my advice has been appreciated. Now, where you reach a situation where you advise 3-4 times, people, they are not working, what should you do? You start watching.
Do you think your party lost power because of maybe one individual? You know,
it's not
I
only...
want to believe that there are a lot of factors that could have...
You know what I depict that individual?
Yeah.
It's not one. The president, the former president, the 6th president, is a very good man and understanding. The problem, he was surrounded by the people who are not good, who never wanted to have an open door policy. People like Honorable Skazwe, he was the State House Minister. By then, we had Mukupa, Honorable Mukupa. He was the campaign manager. These people, they shielded the president in such a way that the president had only limited advice from the same people instead of having these other people. So when I depict on the Secretary General, is supposed to have to come up with a policy where to say, Mr. President, the people down there, they are crying for this. The people down there, they are complaining about this because he is the eyes of the party outside the government, because he was not in the government, he was not in the cabinet, so that he can have ample time to go around the country and to make sure that he gets the information. Now, that's why we are saying the problem which the former president made, the people who were sidelined by Mr. Michael Chirufasata, those are the same mistake the boss, Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu, made to bring them back. Those people, they were heartless, they had no heart for the people. So what they started doing, those founder members of PF who started long time, they never wanted them closer. And you know, those are the same people who had majority. And why I'm depicting on Mr. Davis Miller, I know you find a platform to defend himself, but I can't run away from this fact that I should depict his name. The problem he made, we had people in the party who are popular. So when we are doing internal elections going around the country, the people who were who was closer to him, his close associates, were the people who were occupying various positions on the expenses of those that were popular. And this is why, the reason why I can depict this. PF has got 63 MPs, and 20 they are independent. And the UPND have got how many? About 8.
Independents, they are 13 actually.
They are 13.
13, yeah.
Yeah. So now those independent, others jumped the wagon from the boat to UPND. So some seats were part of the party. Now, because of the perpetual hatred that the SG had, he would come plainly and tell you, you are not going to stand this time around. The example he gave, he made sure to say, given Ruvinda is not going to stand. Jean Kapata, Honorable, is not going to stand. Honorable former Mnali, Madame Kanru, he made sure that they were not picked. So, we are looking at a situation, if the same independent, if we are to add with the numbers, the party would have even gone to the rerun. This time would have been talking about a different story. But
what of Mr. Komaki? For some viewers who would accuse you that possibly you were just a bitter man. You know, you don't just like Honorable Davis Muller because you can't put a blame or the whole blame on one person to have led to the collapsing of or losing of the party in the last general election. Because on your own, I don't know why I'm getting some kind of contradictions that you mentioned that even the president himself was the head of state, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, was surrounded by some wrong people, according to you, according to your words.
Yes.
All right, of which you've cited a few names in there. You've gone further to mention that he made sure that maybe Honorable Given Luinda, did not stand. Mandevu, former MP, did not stand. Professor Nkanluo did not stand. Some people argue with you because these are people that came out in the open announcing their intentions not to recontest their seats. Even Honorable Luinda, even now, is a very proud person not having stood in Kabata constituents. Why should you put a blame on one person?
Bwana moderator, if I say you are the CEO of this institution, the Prime TV, Muvi TV, sorry. Yeah, thank you for correcting.
It's all right.
So, when you are the CEO, the president will hear from you than a common person. You understand? Why I put the blame? If I'm a pilot flying a plane, then if I make a mistake, which blame are you going to put on? It's purely on the pilot. If the driver driving the bus, then you alert him to say there is a pothole there. Then as long as he is in charge, then you hit on the pothole, you flip 3 times, eventually you died. What are you going to say? You say the person who was driving. So the person who was driving the agenda of the PF is the Secretary General. That's why I was saying he was the liaison between the section up to the province. Every day you need to check. It's like a train, a locomotive driver and a flagman. Before the train starts, you need to check. So in this case, the CEO of the party, Mr. Davis Muller, was a flagman to alert the president to say this boat, it has got a danger, so let's apply brakes or let's cruise. By so doing, him will be somewhere, the SG will be very vulnerable with the issue. It's not an outrage that I made. If you follow me, I even came to say the shoes he was putting on was very big. And I told him to say, I'm appealing to the president, we love our brother. Give him something which he can manage. If I didn't love him, if I don't love him, he's my brother, very close, and we talk. But I disagreed with him purely on principle because of the heart that he had. Today I'm here, being called a former ruling party. Because of them, if he had to listen to what we were saying, you hear is on record, Mr. Honorable Given Ruvinda. He apologized open to say, we are sorry. You understand? So now what does that tell you? It tells you to say they were not listening. They were not listening. Because when you make a political statement, should be backed by the policy, then the political statement should be a policy. So now when you fail to honor your words, this is where I said he was a danger to the party.
Right.
Yes.
Some of the reasons, according to what is in the public domain so far, as to why the Patriotic Front lost power was because of what people have described as indisciplined in your political party. Most of your members were very much indisciplined, or your cadres were very much indisciplined. You know, apart from that as well, the issue of to deal with cadreism, among so many reasons. You know, and also the failure to listen to the cries of the people of Zambia or the electorate in general. You know, do you agree that you made those terrible mistakes?
Somehow I can say yes, and somehow I can say no.
Spend a minute to respond.
Yeah, why I can say no is simply because there was a poor leadership of the Secretary General. If people rise and go and launch a complaint to say, we are being harassed at a particular station, bus station, we are being harassed at a market. It's a job of the Secretary General to go and to make sure he quench that problem. So the blame of the misbehaving of the same cadres was purely on top of the Secretary General. Because of his poor leadership, he never saw it fit. As long as they are praising him, others not, then for him it was okay. You understand? And it reached to say, people now extended that mentality to other people because he was the father. As a CEO, I told you, he was the father. If Bwana Moderator, Mr. Innocent Spirit, I start misbehaving in the premises of this Muvi TV station, you get 2-3 reports. What are you going to do? For you to bring sanity in this institution, you need to call me. You sit them down. He has the power by then, as a Secretary General, even to call the police to say, can you arrest this situation? I don't need this. I need sanity. But for him, it was normal for him. You understand? Those are some of the attributes which caused us. Because people will go and complain to say, there's a problem with a plot. You understand? People will rise against you. They even end up beating innocent people, which says, no. I think this party now is a danger because the SG was failing to arrest the situation. Because as I told you to say, he has to supersede the matters from the section to the branch. Whatever situation is prevailing in any party should be on the ears of the Secretary General. So, on that area, that's where the problem started emanating from. You understand? Whereby it reached a point, I was a victim. When I rose to say, you saw people, they started demonstrating, they started looking for me. I was not sleeping in my house for 2 months.
Your own members?
My own members. Now, if they can do that to me, as I'm saying, I am the victim of violence. That's why I don't need it. I was hacked to death, Mr. Piri, if you remember, just to protect the party. At near airport roundabout, I was hacked to death just because I was the agenda of saying we are supporting the president. Because these other people never understood me. So if you saw the rate at which they were moving at, it was very costly. I have a family. Apart from politics, I can join voluntarily, but it's not politics where you reach an extent of losing life. When we differ on principle and the opinion, I just have to respect your opinion because you are entitled to your own opinion. I shouldn't use the axe or a panga just to make sure you silence me completely. That is being unfair.
All right. Part of the message you've brought out, Mr. Komaki, is the issue of the rebranding of your former political party. We've been told that so far the Patriotic Front is trying to put all its pieces in order so that you can pick it up ahead of the 2026 general elections. And according to you, you are saying before the PF does anything with regards to the rebranding, they have to pay the monies owed to the musicians or the artists as well as the media. Do you have in mind how much money is the Patriotic Front owing these musicians as well as the media?
To be precisely sure, there's a lot of money. But what I can say, they launched complaints because we used to be found together. As I was telling you to say, we were the frontliners. Before these big people, the big shots in the party would come, the musicians would be there. The musicians will wait for us. We are mobilizers. We mobilize people. Mobilizing people, once you bring the people together, the musicians will start now disseminating information through music, entertainment. You guys, you are busy covering us. So it is at a cost. You understand? So I'm saying it's just like an advice to say, before we criticize, let's check ourselves. So when we check ourselves, we make the introspection of ourselves to say, our brothers and sisters are complaining. There is the issue which was raised by DEC that the money has been put in Anamwitwa court account. It says it was meant for the musicians and what. So now, although that matter, I'm sure maybe it will be in the course of law and they're under investigation. I cannot explain too much, but it is in the public domain that the media director was also summoned at the DEC to give the other side of the story. So for me, it might be the same money which they're supposed to distribute to these other people who have worked for them, because that was a service they have offered. So there's nothing like they have lost or we have won. They offered the services. So it would be unfair for us not to speak on them, because we are politicians. Being politicians, I need to support you. You are my brothers. I appreciate the work, the noble job that you are working. Same applies in the same vein of the musicians. We appreciated the work, and even tomorrow for them to work for us, we need to strike the balance. Yes.
I'm sure it's very beneficial to the viewers that are watching you right now. And if I told there are some of the artists, who are being owed by the Patriotic Front, and also including some media houses, they are very happy to hear that advocacy from you. You are here speaking as a founder member of the Patriotic Front, and I'm sure, or I should believe that maybe you are speaking not from without, but you are speaking from within. And I'll repeat my question once again. Do you have any figure or in mind of how much the Patriotic Front is owing the musicians as well as media houses? In adding to that again, tell me maybe some of the names which you feel that these musicians are being owed by the Patriotic Front.
Just like I said at first, I said there are some issues which are bedroom issues. Right. Of course, these people, for them to start, for you to come here, we had a date to say, I'm coming to offer the services, isn't it? Which I'm appreciating now. For the musicians to be engaged, there was a contract. They signed a contract between the party and the musicians. They signed a contract between you media institutions with the party. So me, I don't want to see as if I'm a spokesperson of these two, but I'm trying to advise. This is why I'm using this platform, of which they need to find common grounds where they can sit and iron this matter amicably. Because I'm saying, me, I have direct in contact with the people. When the people want to drag the party to court, I need to be concerned. I need to set the alarm to say, here, there's a problem. You understand? So I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a simple cadre, like any other person, of which such matters of the court and what, they will be handled by the lawyers and the court themselves. But my interest is to make sure that we have by-election at Kaumbwe, we have by-election at Chisamba. So how are we going back to the same media and engage them? How are you going to get the musicians to re-engage them when we are owing them? So this is the more reason I said it is also affecting us. So for us to work effectively, we need to settle this matter amicably. The relationship that we build should be the same. It should be the same relationship that we're supposed to enjoy even now. Not to say because we're on the opposition. No, people, they have decided. Me, I just have one vote. There is 2.8 million. Who am I to deny the fact that Mr. Ika Inde Hichilema is the president of the Republic of Zambia? Oh, what we need is just to salute and appreciate. Then we start checking ourselves where we went wrong. These are some of the issues I'm itemizing to know that these are the contributing factors to our loss.
Are there some artists who have come to you to complain that they are being owed by your former party?
That's why I'm saying artists, they are there.
All right.
And I don't want to drag their names here.
All right.
But they are there. But for the interest, I would rather announce them when they are around to defend themselves.
Right.
So now that one, I think I can't go into details, but I can just tell you the artists are there who had offered the service to Patriotic Front.
All right.
Yes.
On the same score, Mr. Komaki, you are aware, and you did, attempt to scratch it a little bit in terms of issues to do with the drug enforcement commissions, among other investigative wings, such as the SEC, the police. We've heard some of your former leaders, such as Mr. Antonio Mwanza, as well as Honorable Davis Mwila, who have complained bitterly that they are being victimized by these institutions in the name of investigating them, in order for them to disclose their source of funding in the last general elections. They have complained that they are being victimized. Reason being that, according to them, they are saying there is no law whatsoever that compels a political party to announce or to disclose which organization funded your campaigns. What is your take on that?
My brother, where the problem is, I can say, give Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Right.
If the money was used wisely, there wouldn't have been that complaint. You understand? If that money was meant for the intended purpose, it would have been utilized by now. Now, where were they taking that money? There was that illegality which they are trying to find out. And they cannot talk about victimization. Mr. Davis Mwila and Antonio Mwanza, at one point they victimized the Prime TV. They were castigated. So whatever goes around, comes around in life. What is important? Today you are there on the other side. It's a privilege in leadership. Doesn't mean you are the only person who is knowledgeable among all the people. It's just a privilege.
It was Honorable Davis Mwila, just a point of correction, not Antonio Mwanza.
Antonio Mwanza,
that chased the Prime TV reporters.
Yes, it's Davis Mwila.
Exactly.
So when you mention to say they are complained,
yes,
victimization. So this is the same seed they planted even in the Prime TV. That's why today they are also going the same. So what is important? The they just have to know how to exculpate to that money, the way it came. They must explain.
All right. Let's come to the issue of criticism. You know, the checks and balances that the Patriotic Front has started already offering to the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema, among other stakeholders in the country. You are on record advising your former leaders that it's too early for them to begin to criticize President Bali because he's been in office for a month and 3 weeks from, I know, by now. How early is this? And when do you want to start?
It's quite interesting. You understand? Why I said, world over, a president, when he is ushered in the office, given enough time for 100 days and above. Why I meant that? Simple reason being that by then you will finish up the cabinet. By then you will finish up all the changes that you want to make. Then once now he is confident with the team that he has, that's when now we can be able to start raising the flag. As I'm speaking now, Bali, the president of the Republic of Zambia, is a president. We need to give him support and respect. But again, doesn't mean we are looking for the job in the UPND. No, we were in the former government. But only thing we can do is to offer checks and balances. But what I meant to say is too early. As I'm speaking right now, the UPND government has not yet even formulated a budget. So when they were making all this, were merely political statements. So how are they going to marry this political statement to become policy? This is what we are waiting. All the Zambian civil servant, school-going children, empowerment, job creation, you understand? So it's too premature for us. They haven't, because what we are expecting in the budget that is coming is going to make sure that the political statement they made should be now turned into policy, whereby now it will be backed up by the policy. So now, how are we going to criticize him when he hasn't formulated the budget to say these people have been cutted in this line? That's why it is too premature. Let's give them chance. They come up with their own budget. Then to say, how many teachers are they going to be employed? How many doctors are they going to be employed? How many civil servants are going to be employed? Because the problem that we have is so huge. We are not just saying a sake of job creation. There's a lot of things, my brother, which are involved. You know, this problem was created 30 years ago when they privatized the companies. So there was retrenchment. There was massive, people lost massively job. So we need to go back to the same way. We start now creating job opportunities, opening up new mines where we need to partner, maybe like investors, we partner with the Zambian people 50 to 50. Then if the investors pull out, we remain with the 50 shares. Then we are adding value to the GDP of this country. But again, I cannot go into that extremes. I, for one, yes, because I've been in the opposition and we have been in the government. So I'm speaking through the experience that we had. So it's not that I've been bought or hired a gun by the UPND to say it's too early. No. What is important? There's time for everything. You understand? That's why there is a baby when he's born, he cannot start eating shima. You start by porridge. So give them, they will start gradually. Then we are not saying we are not giving checks and balance. As we are speaking, the president opened the parliament. So they were debating. They were debating the statement which he issued, isn't it? Now, when they are going to present the budget, they will start now debating the budget, which is a guiding principle of this country. Then we will know that we are making. How many steps are we gaining in terms of GDP in this country, then the budget that will come up, we'll scrutinize it. Then we'll say, okay, where is a commoner person? Has he been regarded? Where is the wheelbarrow pusher? Where is the person who sells the newspapers? Where is the person who is the security guard? Has he been catered for? What interest? What's the benefit in this budget? Where is the empowerment of the same so-called cadres? Because they are the custodians of the power. They are the ones who saw his fit for the body to be in State House where it is today. So these are the same people now. They need empowerment. They are not asking just for the sake of asking. No. They are asking for their empowerment. Give them the opportunity. Open up a bank even in various markets. Empower them. Let the lending institution supervise them closely to them. Then by so doing, effectiveness will be there. People will be nurtured. People will be taught until they will graduate. In the bus stations, let them come with a deliberate policy, because what they were looking for is a political will. And we thank the president is saying the political will is there. And we are here to advise. So this is why I say it's too premature for us to advise them when there is no budget. You understand? Because when I'm going to the market, I'll put things straight, what I'm going to buy. So now, can I start asking you when there is nothing, like there is no budget? So it's like we are shooting ourselves in there. In the foot.
Having said so, how do you make of the sentiments or the action that has been taken so far by leaders like President Sean Tembo? We've got President Edith Nawakwi, and of course others that are saying there's no time to wait, because remember that when Bali was campaigning, he didn't tell us to say you should begin criticizing me, or I'm going to implement these things after 100 days. So these are not my words. I need to make it clear for the sake of some minds. All right. This is according to what Sean Tembo is saying, as well as Honorable Edith Nawakwi. So there was no specifications to how long will Bali begins to implement some of his promises. So he has to begin now.
To be categorical clear, I would say, my brother, Rome was not built in a day. You understand?
Yeah.
The current budget which is there was approved by the previous government. So of which there is no adjustment whatsoever. So when he was selling himself, the manifesto towards the people, he never said, I will implement on the PF budget. He said he will do it. Even if it takes a locust scientist, you will see him to say, you will turn things around within a fraction of a second. No, let's wait for the budget. You understand? These people you have mentioned, I don't want to enter into the debate. They are not here. I can only be comfortable to debate when they are here.
Yeah.
They have been in government before. They understand the government system.
Of course, Sean Tembo has never been in government before.
Talking about Honorable Edith Nawakwi.
Yes.
And Sean Tembo himself is a political opposition leader. Whatever he sees fit for him, if it is making sense, let him criticize. I cannot say he cannot criticize. He needs to criticize where it is. He sees it's fit for him and the general public there. But for us who have been in the government, in Bemba we say, "Usendero mucheri okufina, untu mfire mucheri okufina." I can only wait the weight of the bag of the salt. If I have just done what? If I have taken it. So it's now up to the PF and the UPND. If they make the budget, we want to see the best ever budget of the PF, the UPND, to outshine the PF. That's when now we say, no, here I think we are not safe. Here we are safe. By so doing, this is why I said it's too premature. Now suppose, as you are saying, they are criticizing. Now the president there is going to do what you are criticizing. Who is going to look knowledgeable between the other? It's the person implementing.
I want to give you just my last question, just within a minute. As you are rebranding, or as the PF rather is rebranding itself, do you have some names of leaders that can be floated or fronted to the top leadership, and maybe take out some of them?
My brother,
Because you have seen there's a scramble for the presidents so far.
we have no leadership crisis.
Okay.
We have no leadership crisis. We have eminent men and women who are capable of taking the mantle of leadership in Patriotic
Who are
Front.
those?
I cannot name now. It's too premature.
Right.
Because we haven't yet even gone to the convention. Because this problem we are talking about is not a small issue which can be sorted by a day. We need to make overhaul. You understand? We need to make overhaul. As we are doing, there are some people who are resigning, so we need to take stock. We need again maybe to refresh the elections where we go to the elections, because the president had the mandate for 5 years. Now, since he won't be in active politics by virtue of being the past president, you understand? Definitely. Because this country, when I'm saying we congratulate Mr. Ikainde Hichilema for the victory and the UPND,
Yeah.
Zambia had won two things.
Yeah.
We won the election.
That is your closing remarks. We need to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Please finish your thought.
We won the election, and we, on the other side of Edgar Chagwalungu, we won democracy by ceremoniously handing over. Now it's like Zambia is on the world map as a beacon of peace. This is the more reason why you are saying, even our brothers and sisters can criticize, but give him a chance. The chance is not too much. The chance is not too much. Give him a chance. He discharges duties. But again, my appeal is to the same cadres. Us, why we failed, we were neglected somehow. The general people who were called the names of cadres were neglected. So my appeal now, even to this government, they need to take care of our brothers and sisters. Why I'm saying this, the president cannot say, I have closed this chapter. It can only be closed, this debate, when the solution is found. As long as the solution is not yet found, the debate is still on. As long as those people, you are mindful to say the UPND was in power for 23 years. So there are some adamant supporters who joined the party 23 years ago, knowing the too well to say, when we form government, things are going to change. Others 15 years ago. So these are the same people now we need to take stock to say, Mr. President, these are your people. Before we meet with the technocrats, you understand? It's the cadres, who are your foot soldiers, who were going around west, the technocrats, they are seated in the aircon waiting to implement the policy which is coming, but those are the foot soldiers. So what we are saying, we are appealing, they are our brothers, never should they forget them. I'm appealing to the president to find a solution. As they are enshrining the new budget, at least the leaf can be be catered for them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Komaki, for coming. Lack of democracy in the studio always forces us to close the program.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much to all of you, the viewers, and allow me to appreciate my producer, Maptopiri. We appreciate you always, and of course, my camera person in the studio, Christopher. Thank you so much. To you, the people of Zambia, like I always say, may God bless Zambia. May God bless Mother Africa.